Hello, I'm Waddell. I'm the Global Managing Director for Travel and Transportation Industries at IBM. Also part of the Executive Committee at the World Travel and Tourism Council and on other industry-related boards and of course with Embry-Riddle as well. But pleased to be here. Thanks for having me. Well, at IBM, we go to market by several different ways, three in particular. One is around geographies, right? So we have leadership and teams from a geography perspective. We also have from our business units, and that's whether it be hardware, software, services, and so forth. Then we also have the third pillar of the stool, I'll call it, which is around industries. And we have 12 industries that we focus on. And this brings together what we call the one IBM that makes sure that all of our geographies, all of our business units are coming together for maximum value for our clients and driving that. So essentially, I am our CEO for the travel and transportation industries. Can't say exactly, but it's roughly about a $2 to $3 billion business. And on a day-to-day basis, I'm working with clients, working with our product teams and our product teams. I have some industry product teams as well as some general IBM product teams as well. But we work on behalf of our clients, and almost every day I live and breathe our clients and what we're doing and what we can do better and helping them achieve the value and the growth they're trying to achieve as well. Look, it started at an early age. I can say that thanks to my mother, my wonderful mother, I had an opportunity to get into and leverage some of my interest and passion in technology and computers very early on. Now, I was a bit unique where I had some capability in computers. I was early on, I loved the development side of things. I created some what we called back then pre-internet called a bulletin board system. Very into it at that stage, but I was also very active in school. I was a captain of my basketball team. I was in student body government. And what I found was I equated it to a business and technology upbringing. And I credit my mother who gave me, frankly, a growth mindset, is what we call it now, where it was always about what can I do to achieve the goals and objectives that I had, and staying positive on that course and finding ways to make it happen. So with that said, I really started out in computers, in part of an IT organization, helping starting that. My first real professional employment opportunities with Accenture. Great opportunity in Chicago to then look at a global angle of a consulting business as well as an IT and global architectures and how that's important. Now, I didn't really have an industry at that point. I had finished up and I was working on my MBA and just finished it up. I had a few startups that I was working with from a corporate perspective. One was called United New Ventures that I then landed with a company at United Airlines, which was then starting up some businesses like Hotwire and Orbitz and others as well. Well, I happened to be part of that company. Now, this was right about the time of 9/11 and right before United Airlines bankruptcy. So the bottom line is there were a lot of challenges in the space. I had just done a couple of other startups and then we had some challenges at United New Ventures. And as a part of that, I actually then made a pitch to say, well, what if I came on and ran Mileage Plus from the business operations for United? Made a pitch, was accepted, ran that, ultimately took on United.com and had the whole portfolio there. Loved working with the airlines, loved working with, frankly, the travel industry. I saw some great potential there, but it was I was warmly received. I love the impact. I love the way that people talked about it. And that's how I started. So I was on the commercial side, on the business side, of course. And then I had an opportunity to go over to Amtrak, which is the trains. Now, as you probably remember, in passenger rail, they were moving to more of electronic ticketing, which the airlines had moved to many years prior. So I helped with that transition. I actually went on on the IT side as a group CIO, and then ultimately took on the overall CIO role as well for Amtrak and was on the executive committee there. Love that opportunity with trains. So then I've done trains and planes, I went to another company in Houston after that, after 6 years at Amtrak. Loved that opportunity, and then went to Houston, and then had an opportunity with a private jet company called Universal Weather and Aviation. Was a chief digital officer and CIO there, and really enjoyed that experience. And then IBM came knocking on my door saying, hey, we would love to have you take on the CEO role for this global industry and help us transform and drive that forward. So now I'm on the IBM side, helping former peers and clients really then drive value in their business and continuing to help. It feels like a broader basis, right? Where now I get to go to airlines around the world, have relationships, and then help drive business there as well. Obviously, it's been tough with COVID, but I'm also very proud of the work that a number of our clients and we have done to really try to accelerate the strategies to then come out of COVID and the pandemic in a real strong position. So that's a little bit about my background, very unique. I did all of my schooling after I was married and during my work life. So I understand the challenges of balancing work and school. So I think it's a fantastic opportunity for you all as students to try to balance that, to try to get real experience as well. But that's a little bit about my background. Well, I love working with clients. I love working in our industry. I love the connections. I love the relationships. I love the broad impact. And when you have an opportunity to work with good people that are trusted along with the team, that are high performing, and then work with fantastic clients that are truly just trying to get work done and drive value, it really allows you to let go of some of the small things that can happen in large companies, even working with clients, whether it be politics or small talk or this or that. What I love about my role is it's strategic and operational at the same time. I get in, of course, talk about the future of travel, especially with my relationship on the executive committee with the World Travel and Tourism Council, to be able to sit toe to toe with other CEOs in the travel, really the global travel and tourism space, but also with airlines and hospitality clients, and even on the transportation side with rail, whether it be passenger or freight, and other segments as well. What I love, again, is just making things real, seeing a difference. And then frankly, from a personal perspective, my purpose in life is about leveraging what I believe were my God-given talents and abilities to help others. And from a professional perspective, this is the angle that I've chosen to try to have maximum impact. Again, leveraging my gifts and the talents that I have and the passions that I have, as well as then the interests and the opportunities I have in the professional work of helping people, and again, making an impact in the world. So I think that's really what drives me, and that's what's fun about this. And then again, everybody talks about travel. Everybody has an experience, and I love stories. I love hearing about them. I've got great stories myself. And you know what? It's just an exciting industry, and I love the fact that we've got Embry-Riddle University that's driving an industry approach to academic studies. I love it. That's a little bit about about me and about the my passion day to day. Interestingly, as you get to a senior level, the guidance, the coaching, the mentoring, you have to go and seek that out. Oftentimes, it's up to you. Again, in these senior roles where you have a business to run, you have metrics you need to deliver, would be the revenue, signings, margin, cost performance, whatever it may be. That's the bottom line. People don't understand all of the details about what drives X, what drives Y. So what I found is the challenges there is it's really up to you. You can create what you think will have the highest level of impact. So I love that empowerment. I've got great leaders. I've got a great support mechanism. So I think that's one, is just knowing that as you get into senior level positions, This is about you and your strategy, what you're driving, because they put you in that role for you to make the difference. And getting engaged, making sure that you're not absent from any of these things. Kind of, we've talked about absentee leadership in our company and other things, but how do you really, set the context for people, inspire them to go out and drive their passions, have the high level of trust? That, to me, working with great people, great teams, working with great clients, those are the things that really drive me, and I think also come with challenges. Now, let me just say another piece in terms of a challenge. Within the travel and tourism space, particularly the airlines and others, we've seen a massive hit with the pandemic. And clearly, COVID, lots of different challenges throughout the world, it has had a massive impact on our industry, like literally we've never seen before. Now, I do think it will come back quickly, but the challenge is, and it still is out there, between governments around the world, not necessarily being in lock-sync with each other. One country may say, this is what's required, and other countries say, this is what's required, and they may be different. This is going to be a challenge on international travel for a while. And how do we help resolve that? I think we've got some interesting things we're working on, but those are some of the challenges from a business perspective, maybe from a personal perspective. But again, don't let the small things, take you off course. You're there for your own purpose in life. Keep driving that. And I hope that through your professional affiliations and companies that you're able to kind of quench that thirst around your passions, your talents, your abilities, and be able to just really contribute and give back to the world. Work-life balance is critical. Each of us need to find what that means to each of us, right? And I do think there are times and seasons. Whether you are married, you have children, whether you have parents living with you, there has been a real challenge with work-life balance, I think, over my career. There's been a real culture about driving hours and just hard charging, and just, you've got to constantly give up and sacrifice your personal life. And I think, particularly with the pandemic, perhaps other reasons as well, that you're seeing a shift to have the corporate work-life balance be more accommodating for those that have challenges, that those that have special situations. So it's a little bit more personalized and customized. So to me, the work-life balance means addressing those things that are most needed in your life, whether it be, for me, sleep, and making sure that I treat my body, that I can have it in the best shape it can be ready to perform when I need to perform. I also think that there's flexibility. I'm in a global role. I have calls throughout the day, and I'm able to manage my schedule enough where maybe I have a very early morning meeting. I can kind of put a number of them together during lunch or during kind of the mid-afternoon. And then frankly, I'm going pretty late at night sometimes with Asia and other areas. But the point is, I can kind of create my schedule, try to have my work-life balance clear, because I have my parents living with us, right? So I have, and some of you may have some of these situations in your own life, but we just had our daughter graduate from high school, and there's been some, of course, helping homework and working with her and attending events and all those things. Look, I just think that the corporate world has done a much better job at facilitating and working to the individual worker and the employee about finding that work-life balance, especially in COVID when we haven't traveled as much. And I would challenge all of you to continue to push your companies to make sure that we welcome all. And this is part of our diversity inclusion, where those of us that have different roles in life, whether it's parenting or whether it's caring for adult or parents. The fact is there's time requirements, and companies need to be more flexible in supporting them, especially for those in senior roles. And I see a change, and I hope that we can continue that even going forward to make sure we all are living the best life we can. I love what I do. The impact that I have is something that satisfies me. These are very personal discussions. It's interesting. I was just mentoring a colleague here yesterday, and I shared a book which is Stephen Covey's 8th Habit. Now, you may be familiar with the 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, which is the most famous of his books. But the one that really speaks to me and speaks to this topic would be about your voice. And this is, again, the 8th Habit, Stephen Covey's 8th Habit book. But it talks about developing your voice. What is it in your life you want to be or become? And this is something that it's weighed on me for many, many years, but I've come to the conclusion that, again, what have I been given in terms of talents and abilities? What have I been given or the opportunity to help with other people? How can I have the most impact, whether it be professionally or personally, or even, some of my spiritual side? But I think it helps kind of plot out what is important in your life. And those are personal discussions. But look, companies and working in an industry are something that should be fulfilling, something that you should be engaged with, be passionate about. And frankly, I love what I'm doing. I love to be able to work with clients, especially since I've been there and done that. So I can be a little bit more fair to say, this isn't about selling. This is about driving value with you. I'm here as your partner. And it's clear, since I've been in the seat before, I've spent money with IBM and others in the technology side, and even others. But to me, I'm not looking for this, I have to become X, or I have to hit this level. That's not about me. It's about the impact. It's about leveraging my God-given talents and abilities. And you know what? You never know what comes out of opportunities. And even frankly, if we've had discussions about me continuing to teach. I've audited some programs at another university. Of course, we're working together with Embry-Riddle. I did get my doctorate here a number of years ago in 2013 for potentially continuing to have more affiliations with universities in that work. So we'll have to see how things go. I love the World Travel and Tourism Council. I love working on behalf of groups. I love being on boards and being able to help others as well on a broader basis. Those are some of the things I'm looking at. But you know what? I'm just focused on what I'm doing at IBM for our clients. And frankly, I'm loving that. First point of advice is just to get in, find the passion. When you all of a sudden are working on some things and the hours go by, maybe that's an indicator of the engagement and passion that you can have for that area. Now, again, I would love to recommend the book Stephen Covey around the 8th Habit to kind of think through what your voice is and what you can contribute to the world that you'd be satisfied. But I do think that is a good piece of advice, to just get in. Don't worry about all the small stuff. Don't let the negativity hit you. There's going to be challenges. Approach challenges with optimism, with drive, with energy. And I promise you that those are the type of things that as you demonstrate that in real situations, you'll have much better satisfaction about how you come out, even if they were the hardest things, or sometimes you fail. But at least kind of working to that angle, maybe that's what we call the growth mindset. But look at that growth mindset concept. Think about how you can just continually learn, continually contribute. So one of the things that I do see with young people in general, and I spend a fair amount of time with young people, is about just getting in and engaging. But when they do, really are capable, really are powerful. And I just hope this next generation coming out of the universities really are just willing to roll up their sleeves, get in, be a sponge, whatever it may be, soak it up, and then start positioning yourself for how can I make that bigger difference, to see the context a little bit differently, and then be able to drive it in a new way, in an innovative next generation type way. I think that's what the world needs, and that would be the advice I give. Just get in and do it. Things may change, but just get in and go do it.